Good afternoon, students. Today we are talking about industrial cities. As we have talked during previous lessons, the Industrial Revolution, which took place between 1760 and 1830, produced many changes in the economy and in the society. One of these changes was the birth of the industrial cities. In the picture, you can see a pint of Sheffield at the beginning of the 19th century. Industrial cities rose through the urbanization, the phenomenon which led farmers and rural inhabitants to move to the city to work in industries, causing the development of towns and cities and the growth of the population living in urban centers. For example, in the 18th century, Manchester was a small farming town. At the beginning of the 19th century, it was a city of 142,000 inhabitants. Urbanization in the early 19th century had a great impact in Great Britain, where the coal became the most important fuel used during the Industrial Revolution for trains, factories, and almost all purposes. In England, there were huge coal fields. That is the place where you can find coal. Usually, the new factories were located close to the main coal field in order to get the coal easily. Therefore, some of the most important industrial cities, such as Manchester, Liverpool, Sheffield, and Leeds, developed in the areas of the coal field, as you can see on the map, where the coal fields are colored in green. On the map, you can also see that all the main cities of the century were connected to each other by railroads. The railroads had a great development in a few years because the train was the only easy and cheap way to transfer goods and ground. Indeed, for centuries, the commerce had developed only by ship. However, as you can see, the industrial areas were linked by railroad to the major harbours, such as Bristol. The way of communication had an important role in the development of the new huge cities, which needed a lot of goods for their factories and their growing population. In those years, not only the railway network increased significantly, but also the network of navigable canals was increased. Several private companies created transportation services both by boat and coach. Of course, in the 19th century, the coach wasn't a bus, but a means of transport with horses. How did the cities look like in that period? In the cities, there were neighborhoods for rich people, separated from the neighborhoods for the workers. Of course, they looked very different and had different services. Also, in the old cities such as London, many new neighborhoods, especially for poor people, rose in the suburbs. In the neighborhoods for rich people, there were banks, shops, parks, and gardens. Rich people's houses were beautiful, with many rooms, a large sitting room, a kitchen, bedrooms, and bathroom. Rich people's houses had water and gas. That was used also for illumination. There was no electric illumination, which spread only at the end of the 19th century. The neighborhoods of the workers were close to the factories. The workers' houses were small and all similar to each other. In the neighborhoods of the workers, people lived in terrible conditions. There was smoke from the factories. There was no light, no heating, no bathroom, no water, no sewers, and often many families lived in one room. In the 19th century, cities began to face the problems of industrialization and urbanization, like difficulty in the disposal of sewage and waste, or the houses of the poor people were located near the workshops that polluted them with fumes, shortage of services, e.g. sewers. There were unhealthy neighborhoods where poor sanitary conditions generate epidemics, cholera, typhus, etc. Increase of poverty, speculation on the construction of a residential district with very low quality, increase in traffic and pollution.